Well, in this week's Farmers Weekly, Annette Scott has reported that the new Strongwall Action Group, known as SWAG, is open for contributions as it targets a working budget. The SWAG company is now officially incorporated, and over the next 12 months, the aim is to raise $700,000 from industry to fund the necessary activities of the company's work. This is in conjunction with, of course, government funding, which will be at a match of 80% to 20%. And all of the major meat processors so far have come on board. One of those that is the chairman of Strongwall Action Group, as well as co-chair of Silver Fern Farms, is Rob Hewett, who joins us now. Rob, I do have to congratulate you. You aren't mucking around.
No, we're not. And look, the industry's been in a state of chaos, quite frankly, Strongwall industry for quite some years, and it's time to move. And funnily enough, the consumer sentiment out there globally is reflecting on where their food, where their fibre is coming from. And there's a funny way of going about it. There's never been a better time to put this out in front of consumers. They're wanting to re-engage with their supply chains. Well, at least the consumers that New Zealand exporters should be interested in dealing with are. And the time is good. It doesn't mean it's going to be particularly easy, but at least the consumers are going to be listening.
Okay, so to get some firm costings around that, what is the exact mandate to achieve over its 2-year lifespan of the SWAG company?
Well, the 2 years, so we need to clarify a couple of things there. So the company life is actually unknown, but I don't expect we'll be around in 2 years' time. The SWAG is a catalyst. We don't own anything. All we want to do is to bring relevant parties together to get a good outcome for the Strongwall sector. I expect that's going to mean that we'll be working up business cases with projects that have either where we've identified a need, a gap in the marketplace, or there's companies already that are willing to be worked with, and they need a bit of a helping hand in whatever way that might be. But essentially, it'll be about introducing either people or funding or ideas into the marketplace and taking it forward. The 2-year life that you refer to is just the life of the entity itself. It doesn't mean we're going to be around that long. I'd like to think we'll have something pretty well formulated and sorted out within 12 months.
So as an umbrella project, the work that you're doing is very consumer focused and working, I understand, with IDEO out of San Francisco. What do you believe will be completed by that March 2021 deadline on the market opportunities?
Well, we're looking, I guess there's two bodies of work really. I mean, there's a few more, but there's two bodies of work that are relevant in this context. The first one is, what are our consumers looking for? In other words, what are the problems that they need solving? I think the wool industry in the past, Strongwall sector, has been guilty is too strong a word, but basically guilty of inventing a better mousetrap, in my view. In other words, we think as a farmer that we've got a fantastic fibre, which we do, but we think that consumers should just be buying it. We haven't been giving them a reason to do that. We haven't been trying to understand to the degree that we need what are the problems that we can solve with Strongwall. The fine wool guys have done a pretty good job of that, I think, certainly in recent years, and there's been a couple of examples that everybody points to around Allbirds and Icebreaker as doing that, and look at the market niches that they've uncovered and created. Now, we need to bring some of that thinking back inside the Strongwall sector. So what IDEO are going to do, there's been a lot of work with IDEO, particularly in the fine wool sector, but also with the Tohono Boot Camp. IDEO are a consumer insights company based out of San Francisco. They are very intimate with North American consumers, and that's a significant part of the market that we wish to explore. What that's going to do is identify opportunities in the marketplace. What are the problems that consumers are looking to solve that Strongwall could potentially do? The second work stream is the other side of the same coin, which is what products have we got in the market today? What producers, what manufacturers, who are making products that meet these consumer needs, and what sort of help do they need, if any? But more importantly, I think, or equally as importantly, is where are the gaps and what can we do to fill them? And that's the second half of the work. So the first bit is, what is the opportunity? The second is, how do we make the opportunity work for the Strongwall sector? So that's broadly, we expect the first bit with IDEO to be done by March, and then the second half will be, how do we plug the gaps?
Okay, and plugging the gap is the difference of about 375,000 from the contributions you've already got to date from Alliance, AFCO, ANZCO, Silverfern Farms, Ovation, New Zealand Wool Scours and Landcorp. Very few wool exporters or merchants or anyone connected to the industry on that list. Why is the meat processors leading this? What sort of message are they trying to send?
Well, there's a couple of things in there. Firstly, just because the Wool Scouts New Zealand are on there, absolutely, they've come right to the party, which is great. There is other active discussions going on with various exporters, merchants, testing houses, etc. So that is ongoing, and I'd expect there'll be some funding come out of that sector, that component of the sector as well. Why is the meat business in here? It's a defensive move. You know, we need. As a meat processor, we have a strong lamb business. And if we don't have something that supports the meat side of the income stream for farmers, if lamb meat or sheep meat tanks in the future, and it's, you know, in a commodity space, it can do that, then if wool doesn't pull its weight, the trees are coming. It's as simple as that. You know, I've done the economics on my own farm. I've got a lot of trees on my own farm. Luckily, it's in gullies and gorsey faces that aren't producing any pasture. But you know, it's with carbon prices and where they're forecast to go in the future. If we don't have a compelling combined meat wool offer on sheep meat, and you know, beef needs to pull its weight too in that breeding country, then the opportunity for land use change is real. And once it's in trees, it doesn't come out. So, you know, this is to answer your question, why is the meat industry in here? It's to save our own industry. It's a defensive move.
Fantastic. Thank you for explaining that, because it does make a lot of sense. I do know that you are stated here as declining to comment on the W3 Unleashed program. However, I do have to express the frustration at the chair of the National Council of New Zealand Wool Interests, which was formed under direction from Minister O'Connor to rally the troops and pull the industry together, at the fact that SWAG and the Wool's Unleashed are not sharing information around funding. And more so, I'm quite surprised to see that the quarterly reports of the PGP-funded W3 program haven't been released in the last couple of quarters. What can you comment on? Because, you know, it is a fair point there from Craig Smith.
It's not my gig. The W3 stuff has gone on. It's been going for some time. I can't comment on it because I don't know it in the detail. And even if I did, it's not my gig. They're going to have to comment on it themselves. All I'll say to Craig is that SWAG is absolutely committed to working with anybody who wants to be worked with. And we'll do that. And as you said at the outset, you know, we're moving at pace here. The fact that we will commit to working with whoever wants to be worked with. And if people don't want to be worked with, that's fine. We'll move on. This thing's been buggering around for too long, quite frankly, and we will move on. There are other options. I know of several opportunities that I would hate to see left on the table, but ultimately they could be, because either there's different priorities amongst the IP owners, or they just don't want to commit, and that's fine. You know, it's their business at the end of the day. SWAG is a catalyst. We want the best for the strong wool sector in New Zealand. I'm ambivalent as to how we get there, as long as we get there. And at the moment, it's pretty dire.
I do, as a bit of a segue to our next guest, where we're talking about the huge demand investing in SunGold kiwi fruit. There's some learnings from kiwi fruit being applied to the sheep milking industry. And Scotty Chapman was proud to say that the opportunities were there because of the nature of the cycle of where they were in terms of a startup industry. High value crops supported by an industry structure with a single marketer and a co-op structure for growers. Wouldn't that be a dream for wool?
Sounds good to me.
What a wonderful way to end it there. Hey, thank you so much, Rob Hewett, wearing the chair hat of the Strong Wool Action Group. And as we said there, Annette Scott's article in this week's Farmers Weekly, you can get it at farmersweekly.co.nz.
This is Sarah's Country.